Hello, hello, hello. It is 1:55 a.m. Thursday, 21st of March in the year 2024. I'm Wolfman. You are who you are. I'd like to talk today a little bit about suffering and the end of suffering. I would like to talk about how not to suffer. There's an old saying that pain is inevitable and suffering is optional. I believe that to be true. It comes down to definitions. I've had arguments with people about this because some people think that suffering means what I think pain means, and so on and so forth. But when I talk about suffering, I'm talking about that thing that happens when you don't like what's going on. Um, so there are a lot of teachers out there who try to tell you that if you just vibrate high enough, then your life will turn into paradise on earth, and the conditions around you will suddenly just be great. And I don't know that they're wrong, but I don't care exactly. I don't care. I don't care about the conditions. I think if you want to change the conditions on earth, then you should change them, through action. Like if you want money, then make money. If you want to, if you want a better house, then get a better house. I don't do the thing to go out and get the thing that you want. That's fine, but I don't I don't, and I'm not saying that that's not a good. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna lists off all the reasons why people come to him, and one of the reasons is seekers after gold. So if wanting nice conditions in your life gets you on the path, I have no problem with that. It's just me personally, my experience of life and my spiritual path, it just doesn't go with that. It's I don't have these great desires, you know. I'm not without desire, but I've never been picky, and I'm not gonna start being picky now so that I can manifest, so that I can, have this. That's just not the path for me. If it's the path for you, then great, but I'm not the person to talk to you about it. Um, I'm much more concerned with the ability to be happy under any and all conditions. And I've recently begun to understand how you can be grateful when something that you don't like happens, because it gives you an opportunity to bring up that little, it points at where you're stuck. And I've been hearing that for years, and this is nonsense. I've always thought it was nonsense. I didn't understand it at all. Ram Dass talks about it a lot. You want to be happy, or you want to be free. Like, I've always thought it was kind of like I don't know, some kind of weird logic, because like the reason that you want to be free is because you want to be happy. And I kind of stand by that, actually, with my most current level of understanding, because I think when you find something that annoys you, and those are the wrong words, because I don't find anything that annoys me. I find something and I annoy myself about it. To take a turn of phrase that I learned from Michael Singer, who was a wonderful teacher, who, the founder of the Temple of the Universe. University in Gainesville, Florida, which I have not been to yet, but I intend to. But I've been listening to a lot of his talks, and it's nothing new. It's the same shit that I agreed with when I heard Alan Watts say it. It's the same shit that I knew when I was a little kid. It was the same shit that I agreed with when I heard Alan Watts say it, when I heard Ram Dass say it, and now I'm hearing when I heard Guru Dev Sri Ravi Shankar say it, and now when I'm hearing Michael Singer say it, all of them in their own ways, ringing a bell that makes my bell ring from co-resonance, and they all have their own perspective on it, their own way of seeing it, their own way of saying it, and so all that to say, I want to talk about suffering and the end of suffering, and so I have some notes. Right, one common misunderstanding is that if you get enlightened or you stop suffering, you're not going to feel the full range of emotions anymore. You're not going to get angry. You're not going to have deep sorrow. That's not it. I've by no means perfected my equanimity, but I'm coming to understand through the process of perfecting my equanimity, which, language being what it is, like I am going through the process of perfecting my equanimity. I don't expect to have perfect equanimity at the end of this. Maybe that will happen and maybe it won't, but that's not the point. The point is to go through the process, or to be going through the process, not to get to the end of it. To make the equanimity more perfect rather than, and by perfect I just mean complete, rather than to actually get to the point of completion. And so, all that to say, what I have learned most recently, as I get more and more equanimous, is that you still feel everything. It's just that you're not squeezing, you're not resisting, you're not constricting around the feeling anymore. So when there's anger, so what? So what? And maybe at some point, maybe at some point these things won't happen anymore, but I'm beginning to suspect that they will. Oof, knots in my hair. I'm beginning to suspect that there will always be anger. But it'll just be okay. It'll just be okay that there's anger. It's more and more okay. Like, it's okay that there's anger now, but I still think that maybe someday there won't be. But I think maybe there will be still. Maybe at the end, if there was such a thing, there will still be anger. There just won't be this idea that there shouldn't be anger. And that's really where what I call suffering comes in. It's like, oh, this thing happened and I was angry about it, and I shouldn't have been angry. And now I'm suffering. And that adds on guilt or shame or frustration because, you should be further along on the path. Or probably, very likely, the cause of the anger in the first place is because this thing happened and it shouldn't have happened. I like to say that we don't live in a world of should, we live in a world of is. I don't know where I got it from, but I like to say don't should on yourself as well. It's cute, it's clever. I didn't come up with it. I don't remember who did. So don't should on yourself. We live in a world of is, not a world of should. And so, somebody cuts you off in traffic. It's not that they should have cut you off in traffic. It's not that they shouldn't have. It's that they did. And so what are you going to do about it? And you come that much closer to reality. And so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about should, and there is no such thing. It's a mental construct. Um, there's nothing that should happen. There's nothing that shouldn't happen. So we suffer because we look at our lives and we say it shouldn't be this way, and we try to make it a certain way. And okay, it can be. It just should is a mental construct, and it can be a useful mental construct. But don't get lost in it. But it's okay to use it. And so, in the sense of, if you want your car to go forward, you should put it in drive and put your foot pressed down on the accelerator. That's what you should do. But that's because you have a specific objective and something that you're trying to accomplish. And so, anytime there's a should, it's always the first half of an if. And so you want to make those ifs conscious instead of unconscious, and then realize that there's a bigger game. There's the universe the way it is rather than the way it should be. And so should is only useful. It's a construct with limited utility. But it is useful. So I'm not saying that you can never say should or that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that should isn't real. Is real. Should is a mental construct, and mental constructs can be useful. But if you are suffering because of should, it's not real. And you don't, a lot of times, you say you had a childhood that you didn't like, maybe you were abused, maybe you're horribly abused, and you want to stop, and you suffer about it. You suffer about it because things come up that remind you of it, and you get angry, and you get hurt, and your trauma comes back up, you get re-traumatized by people that treat you in ways that remind you of the way you were treated as a child. And so you can spend a lot of effort and energy trying to be like, well, I don't regret any of the things that happened because they got me where I am today, and I'm stronger because of and it's bullshit. And it's bull, and sometimes it's not, but a lot of times it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, it hurt, it sucked. If I could wave a magic wand and make it go away, then I would make it go away. Like, that's the truth. But you don't think that you should think that. You think that you should be grateful for everything that happened. And you should, like, if you want to heal, then you should be happy about everything that's happened. And so instead of it's very subtle. You don't realize that what's causing the suffering is because you think it shouldn't have happened, and it did. And so you think that you need to make it so that you think that it should have happened. No. That's too far. That's a bridge too far. And it's also, it should have happened is just as much a mental construct as it shouldn't have happened. So throw out the whole concept of should. It did happen. Okay. So, maybe as a child, some authority figure in my life abused me. And for all this time, I thought that they shouldn't have. And then in order to heal, I was trying to think that they should have. And that just didn't work at all. It's like trying to shove a round peg in a square hole. But no, you don't have to think that they should have. Just, they did. They did. Okay, can we accept the fact that they did? Can we let go of whether it should or should not have happened? Can we realize that whether or not it should have happened is completely constructed mentally and is not a real thing? There's no physics involved in whether or not it should have happened. It's just what you think. I didn't like it. I don't think things like that should happen. Okay, well, why? Why shouldn't they happen? Because the bottom line, if you really interrogate yourself and you really get to the bottom of that line of questioning, the very bottom line of why shouldn't things happen is because I don't think they should. That's it. There's nothing deeper than that. That is the bottom of it. With any luck, you'll dig through the bottom and fall out of the concept altogether. So a lot of gurus and teachers will say that the universe is perfect. And we run into the same problem with perfect. You can have a perfect circle because there's a definition of a circle and we know what a circle should be. And so if it is perfectly what a circle should be, then you have a perfect circle. But it's a mental construct. If you draw a shape that is not a perfect circle, that doesn't mean it's not a perfect shape. Or that it is, it's just the shape that it is. Universal, according to the rules of what a circle is, it's not perfect. But according to the rules of what is in the universe, it's not imperfect. It's also not perfect. And so it gets really polarizing when a teacher tries to say the universe is perfect. And then on the other hand, you've got people who are just living their lives, who are getting beat up by life, who are suffering, who are saying the universe is imperfect. And they're both wrong for the same, like equal and opposite, on equal and opposite sides of the actual truth, which is that the universe is. It's it. It's that simple. The universe isn't perfect, but it's not imperfect either. It just is. The universe is the way that it is. And perfection only exists if you have rules. And so, like a perfect game of bowling, 300 points. The only reason why that's perfect is because you think that you should throw the ball down the alley and knock over all the pins on the first time, every time. And if you did that, it would be perfect. Okay, so you go bowl a perfect game according to the rules of bowling, but you're a dick to everybody while you're there. Was that perfect? Or you go bowl a 190, but you end up getting a second date with the girl that you went to the bowling alley with. Was that perfect? Not according to the rules of bowling. Would you change it? It just is what it is. Perfect only exists, I think you can see from the examples, that perfect only exists because we've constructed rules about what should be. And so the universe is not perfect, but neither is it imperfect. It's just that we can drop the concept of perfection altogether. Nothing is perfect, nothing is imperfect. Things just are what they are, and you deal with them in that way. Okay. But does it make corn, right? Like this is the question. Like, can you take it to the bank? What do we do with this? There's shoulds and there's perfection and there's not perfection. Like, okay, maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me. But even if you do agree with me, what do we do about the fact that there really isn't any should or should not, and there really isn't any perfection or imperfection? That things just are the way they are, and you do what you do. What you do about it, checking my notes, what you do about it is you relax. I'm a big proponent of meditation. There are, in my opinion, two main things. I mean, of course, there are all kinds of different things that can be called meditation. There are meditations for this, that, and the other thing. But in the popular, meditations become more and more popular. And out there, what I see the most that is being called meditation are relaxation techniques and concentration techniques, which are fairly, even though they're both going to involve sitting, usually, and like different, sitting in silence. Concentration and relaxation are two fairly different types of meditation. I'm more on the relaxation side. I think you want to develop concentration. I mean, I think they're both useful. And maybe you go back and forth. Maybe you go round and round, and up again and down again and in again and out again. But the point is, like, after you develop the concentration, you meditate, you become relaxed. Things come up, and the things that come up cause you to constrict around them, cause you to suffer. And what you do in the face of this suffering is you relax. You realize that while it was an unconscious part of you that was constricting around the thing, which was creating the suffering, um, it can be made conscious. And so that's the main thing that happens in the meditation, is that you make these unconscious processes of constriction around a thing conscious. And so as you make more and more of them conscious, you have more and more ability to relax. And you just relax the constriction. Like if you have a fractured bone and you're squeezing, say you had a fractured arm bone and you're squeezing your fist, it's going to hurt. So if you want to stop, then you just relax. Relax around the bone. The bone's still broken. It'll heal eventually, but you're not causing that extra pain by squeezing. So it's kind of like that. But it's a mental relaxation. And it looks, the squeezing usually looks like that shouldn't be that way, or I want it and I don't have it, or I want that to not, be here. I fear it and it's coming, or I want it and I don't have it. These are some of the common ways that the constriction looks, and you just relax. You just stop doing the thing that's causing you to suffer. So if you realize that there is no perfection or imperfection, then you just stop judging the world as bad or good. Don't judge it as bad or good. Just experience it. Just see what it is. Just relax. Just stop suffering. And that's very simple. And it's really not any more complicated than that. However, remember that simple is not the same thing as easy. And it's very simple to run a marathon. You just put one foot in front of the other until you get to the finish line. That doesn't make it easy. And so one thing I wanted to mention is that meditation, formal meditation practice, is just practice, but it's practice, you limit the things that are going on. Put yourself in a clean space without a lot of distracting visual stimulus, without a lot of noise. If you want to, you can go practice meditation at a bus stop or an airport, and really, really get some resistance and strengthen those muscles. But like generally, you want to meditate in a quiet, calm space without distractions, so that you can practice the skills in a low stimulus environment where you're likely to succeed every once in a while at relaxing, so that you know what it feels like. And then you take this, and then you want to achieve that same state in your life while you're out and about and things are coming at you. And you're like, yep, I can relax. I can relax in this situation. I can relax in this situation. So you learn how to relax and what it feels like through your formal meditation practice. And then you out in life and you relax as things come at you, at combat speed, as you will. So yeah. So the point of the particular type of meditation I like is to relax. And you can always relax as much as you can relax. See what I mean? Like, it might be too much to ask for you to relax while somebody's in your face screaming, to the point of saying, oh, I'm relaxed. And just like, yeah, this doesn't bother me at first. And so, I'm asking you to relax, and you might say, well, I can't relax in this situation. Fair enough. However, you can always relax as much as you can relax. And so, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say. Run back through the main points very quickly. There is no should in real life. Should is a mental construct with limited utility. There's no perfection, nor is there any imperfection in real life. There's nothing right or wrong about physics. The physics just are what they are. There's nothing right or wrong about the universe. It just is what it is. We suffer because we think it should be different than it is. We can accept it. We can accept that it is the way it is. We don't have to turn around and say, oh, well, it's good. I like it being this way. No. Just, it is this way. Don't have to like it. It is this way. It's this way, and I hate it. And that's the way it is. Okay. Cool. You'll still feel all your feelings, but you'll be okay. Like, oh, look, my heart is hating my job. Oh, that is one other thing that I wanted to mention. I don't want to come off like nothing bothers me. I went to work this morning, and from about an hour before I got to work to about an hour after I got to work, I was miserable um, because my heart was hating my job, and I don't like having a boss. I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't like having to be anywhere at a specific time. Um, I don't like, you know, whatever. I've chosen this. I've chosen this because it seems to be the best option that I have. It's not a bad job. It's really not. Um, but that doesn't mean that I don't suffer. However, I was aware of what was going on the entire time. And I took those 2 hours and I slowly but surely worked my way back to happiness. And how did I do it? I call it work, but really it's the opposite of work. I did it by relaxing, like finding the thing, finding the suffering, and relaxing it. And I go, okay, okay. So first, find the bottom, and the bottom is I hate my job. My heart hates my job. Right? It's not even all of me. Like part of me is just the witness, and I'm witnessing what my heart feels, and my heart feels like this fucking sucks. But there's me seeing that my heart feels like this sucks. And my mind thinks that this sucks. And, whatever. But then, like, with enough awareness over the course of 2 hours, and I'm getting ready for work. I'm going to work. I'm working while all this is going on. So it doesn't have my full attention because part of my attention is on what I'm doing. But, I'd love to have the leisure to be able to just sit and get okay with things before I do them. But I woke up late today and I didn't have that opportunity. So I had to do it on the fly. And so I just paid attention and I realized, thankfully, lots and lots and lots of years of practice, I realized that actually having a job is mostly a mental construct. Um, at any given moment, I'm walking, I'm standing, I'm turning a screw. Um, most of these things are not unpleasant, you know. Not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world, but like I can be happy just walking, for sure. I'd be very happy just walking. I can be happy turning a screw. Like that's not a problem. Um, it's a little bit more difficult when the thing that's actually happening is somebody telling me that I should be wearing safety glasses when I'm not doing anything that's putting my eyes in any danger. Because I have a stubbornness about letting go of upsetting myself about people thinking that they know what safety equipment I should use better than I do when it's my eyes that are or are not, in this case, in jeopardy. And it really feels like somebody's just trying to control me because they like control, and it doesn't really feel like they're trying to keep me safe at all. But even in that case, they're going to tell me to put on safety glasses. I'm going to either tell them to fuck off or I'm going to put the damn things on, more than likely, because I don't really want the fight. And then they're going to walk away, and I'm either going to leave them on or I'm going to fucking take them off when they can't see me anymore. And then it's over, and I don't need to think about it anymore. And if I'm still bothering myself about it, it's in my head. So, but that didn't happen this morning. Anyways, I'm just saying there are a few things, dealing with certain chemicals that are unpleasant, whatever, but about the job. But for the most part, 99% of the job is not unpleasant. It's walking from here to there. It's turning a bolt. It's, whatever. It's only when I build up this whole story about how I'm not as free as I would like to be and how I have to do things on their schedule and blah, 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 when I think that it should be different than it is, that I suffer. And so, unless I think I'm a person with a job, which is a mentally constructed story, then I don't suffer. If I am just walking, which is a lot of what I do, from my toolbox to The airplane, from the airplane to the tool room, I'm just walking. And I know how to be happy when I'm just walking. So if I'm walking when I'm walking, then I can be happy in all the moments when I'm walking. And so that was the particular antidote for the particular suffering that I experienced today. And I just wanted to give that example because, this stuff takes time, and there have been weeks and months where I wasn't very happy, but on average, at least 5 days a week, at least by the end of the day, no matter how much of a mental snarl I've gotten into, I get myself happy enough that I spontaneously laugh at nothing, at least 5 out of 7 days a week. And it's the easiest thing in the world when you do it. Suffering is hard. Being happy is easy. It's breaking the habit is not necessarily easy, but it's just like making a fist is hard. Relaxing a fist is the easiest thing in the world. That being said, I don't know if you've ever woken up in the middle of the night with a cramp, but it's like this is normally a voluntary muscle. You can relax a voluntary muscle, except when you can't. So I get it. Sometimes you cramp. I'm not telling anybody that they need to be any further along than they need to be. What I am saying is that it's possible to be happy. And the way that it happens is by not doing the thing that makes you unhappy. You don't try to be happy. You just try to stop making yourself suffer more than you need to. And when you do stop making yourself suffer more than you need to, your natural state of being will emerge, which is happiness. You will becomes the wrong word because you are happiness. You just can't see it when you're suffering because you're doing things that cover up the happiness, that the squeeze, the constriction, the resistance. So, that being said, as always, as far as you're concerned, I'm a trickster and a fool. I may be lying to you intentionally, or I may not know what I'm talking about. So, if this resonated as truth for you, great. If you don't think that it's true, then pay no attention. I hope you enjoyed it. May your hearts be happy. May your minds be clear. May you find satisfaction in all your endeavors and ultimate satisfaction. Kono omne, kono yoko.